Yes, what's going on, YouTube gang? Hope everyone's had a good trading week. Would like to say the same, but it's been a bit of an odd one. I have not really taken too many setups. I think I've taken two setups this week. One of which was on gold, and I got stopped out for 1%, and the other one was on AUD CAD, and I closed it in a little bit of profit. Didn't like the way it was moving. We can have a look at the setup right here. Was a sell stop around 92,418, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, we just kind of danced about for a bit, and it was just spiking up, spiking down, getting caught in consolidation. These are 4-hour candles, as you can see. And yeah, just wasn't giving me the rejection that I had kind of anticipated and was looking at. So I just got guys to close it out, break even, or a little bit of profit. And again, we'll reanalyze this coming week. I do feel like, we've had a big solid push on AUD CADs, so a kind of retracement at least is in the pipeline. So maybe this will sort of kind of rear its head on next week. I'm not expecting a big retracement, even just down to sort of mid-level 91,500, or there's two areas. We've got around here and this imbalance here at 91,500 that I would be looking for continuations to the upside. We have got a bit of a strong wick down here, but I wouldn't be drawing my trend line from there. But that is kind of where I would be looking for the potential C bounce to continue pushing to these monthly and weekly sort of areas, highs that I'd kind of anticipated AUD CAD to go to. So that is something that I'm looking at next week. I also had a setup for GA. GA was just, again, it's been a week of just movement that's not been very nice. Again, it was like a buy stop entry, dancing around this, that, and the other. I think I closed it at sort of 10, 20 pips in profit. And then, later on in the day on Friday, we did decide to close pretty well. So I will be looking somewhere for a potential buy-in. So GA is another long position that I'm looking at. Kind of coincides with AUD CAD. If AUD is selling off, then GA should be pushing up. But yeah, gold's all-time highs again. Very, very odd kind of movement from the interest rate. This kind of movement here, where I was taught and how I learned when I was, 4 or 5 years ago, was my mentor used to say, pay attention to the wicks, right? Wicks indicates, a lot of things. So when you tend to see a massive wick, that to me is, caused by investors or, money being taken out of the market, right? And this is what kind of happened here. So we had a flush of the all-time highs here, some, equal highs, all that sort of stuff, but all-time highs was over here. We flushed that out, right, on Fed interest rate. We had the next candle being very, very bearish, selling off, looking like, right, sellers are jumping back in. So I was preempting, the retracement pullback to continue the following day on Thursday. I think it was Thursday. Thursday. And yeah, just complete fuckery. Just had the exact same move made on Thursday, based off of nothing. We had this whole move happen in London session, and it kind of just threw me off. Like, why? Obviously, this was, looking back, obviously benefit of hindsight, this was manipulation. point blank period. This right here was manipulation for the continuation next day. I don't really trade day theory much anymore, but because of the swing type setup I have. But yeah, it just seemed a very, very odd week. You know, I watched the Mr. Fed Powell, his speech on the Wednesday, and he seemed very positive, very optimistic about the US dollar on the up and up. The economy's doing really well. You know, no kind of negatives. And it's almost like the markets have just, and we all know that Fed Powell, as soon as he speaks, the markets start fucking reacting. And it's almost like his speech just meant fuck all. Like him saying the economy's good, the US dollar's on the up and up. The markets just didn't follow. And that to me is just a very, very odd thing. I've never witnessed that type of thing happen before. Normally when Fed Powell says something about the US dollar goes up, shoots off. But the DXY just kind of, it's not moved, and we've had NFP, we've had inflation, we've had Fed cut or interest rate and meetings, all this sort of stuff. But yet the DXY is just not moved. There's no, this right here doesn't show any indication of where the DXY is going to be going. It's not broken, 100.500, which is like the mid-level between 101 and 100. For the last month, it's just been consolidating. Maybe this is, it's not even consolidation candles on the monthly time frame. Pretty strong movements. But the last 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, it's just been static. And we've had all this data come out and it's done nothing. Now, maybe this is because we're getting very, very close to the elections. So Kamala or Carmela or whatever her name is, Trump, we all hope and pray that Trump is coming into power. Not that it really makes a massive difference on us because we don't live in the US unless there's viewers watching from the US. You are going to be wanting Trump to come into power because he will sort the economy out good and proper. Just basically undo everything that Biden's done for the last however many years. And then potentially, then we might see a strong US dollar. But given everything that we've had, all the data and stuff, it's not moved. It's not moved. The thing is, you've got a DXY that's flat, like this, consolidated. But then you've got pairs like GU against the US dollar, full porting, moving to the upside. Euro USD, moving. And you know how I always say that Euro USD is normally the DXY but flipped upside down. This doesn't look like the DXY chart overly. But yeah, it's just been a very, very odd Q3. And it's kind of meant for me, I've kind of just stayed out as much as possible. Few setups here and there, but when you've got pairs that are just ranging like this for so long with my strategy is based on pullback strategies, fib retracements, all that sort of stuff. There's been nothing on the pairs that I trade that's been worthy of an entry based off a pullback. This right here is a pullback, but this right here does not align with any sort of fib retracement for me. I specifically like waiting for the 61 and the 78 Not again. These levels here, they can react off of anything, but when you start aligning it with confluences, right? Okay, well, I 61 and 78 is here. What does it align with? Okay, mid-level 128 500s. That is, previous kind of level of resistance that we should retest to support in my eyes. That's rejection here, rejection here, rejection here, pushed through here. So this would be where I would look for the retest. We've got daily imbalance, weekly imbalance here. No real bottom wick on the weekly candle. So this is like, this right here has been where I've been waiting for a while. But that was the pullback that we had. Just that. That little pullback to retest something that was only tested once. Do you know what I mean? This was tested 1, 2, 3, 4, like a fair amount of times. So it's one of those, like when the market is being like this, it is very, very tough, right? Especially for people that are just learning. Very, very tough for even people that have been in the game for a while, such as myself. So it's been making it very, very hard to take setups. And GU, EU, normally one of the easier ones to kind of look at. This right here. I mean, these guys, when I say these are weekly candles, right here, a week of just that's from January all the way through till April, consolidation, just tapping. Same sort of thing here. It's just been a very, very weird year. Last year was definitely a lot better for trading. God knows how many people were trying to sell gold last week. I mean, I attempted it once and just failed horribly. But again, how much more can gold keep pushing? I have no idea. Literally no idea. I'd like to say it's following yields. It's not. It's not following DXY either. And these are the two things that I normally, when looking at gold, tend to shift my attention to. Gold is also being backed off of whatever's going on in the Middle East. So, you have no control over that either. So, when things used to align, they used to correlate with other stuff, and now they're not, it makes it a very, very tough market to be watching. But I mean, on the flip side, when the manual side is just not playing up or playing as much, this is why I have all the automated side. This is why I have all of the strategies that scalp the market. I have my PAM investor account now, which is set up, which everybody can get involved in. If you want to, just either drop me a message on Instagram or drop me a message on Telegram. It is essentially where I take my trades. So you realistically don't have to pay for groups. You can invest into this PAM account and you get my setups. Stop losses, take profits, all that sort of stuff. Me basically trading that account, mirroring my own, right? And there's none of this. It's not a copy trader. So there's no ability for people to be able to follow multiple strategies, invest not enough money into it. It is literally, right, minimum is £1,000 to get involved. The performance fee is 15%, so you get 85% to yourself. And it's just me trading how I trade. So looking for about 2 to 4% a month. Sometimes maybe a little bit more, but I'm not erratic like everybody else because of where my trades are quite swing related. It is, looking for bigger gains, but they might take a bit longer. And yeah, that's out there now. for everybody. I only started it or set it up last week. Few people have got involved into it since setting it up. But yeah, we've got the automated systems going as well. They did quite well last week, given the excuse me, the movements on gold. Gold strategy is still going strong. 15.3. Did have a lost week the week before last. Then we've got a low risk gold, which is doing all right as well. That's steady. The drawdown has literally been 1.4%. We've got an EU one here, which is doing pretty well as well. That's only nearly 9% drawdown, but 13.8% overall. My CAD one's still doing well, but that's got this is a high risk one now because it's trading 4 pairs, 60% drawdown. It's not good, but it hasn't taken a loss. This is the thing with strategies. They do have high drawdown, but especially when they're martingale systems, they are, basically programmed to hedge their way out, i.e. place more positions to basically counteract the original positions. We've got a swing system that I've set up as well, and the GU one's still going as well. So yeah, they did all right last week. They did, I think it was 9% nearly for the week, where I was down 1%. So this is why it's always good to diversify across different things. If I can't see anything manually in the pipeline, then I will at least still be making money from the automated sides, which are scalping the market, because I'm not a scalper. So it's kind of a strategy that's not really me. Oh, fucking hell. So yeah, this week, it's, again, I don't think we've got much. Okay, we've got Fed Powell speaking this week. PCE, and I'm gonna hazard a guess and say that's PPI. I'm not too sure. Let's just have a look and see what news we've got coming out. Okay, so we've got PMI on GBP, PMI on USD, new home sales. That doesn't really do much. GDP, right? Okay, so GDP, higher than expected figure should be seen as bullish. Good. Okay, so we should see some maybe good data this coming Thursday for USD. Obviously, Fed Chair speaking, PCE as well. Okay, so there's a bit of news coming out this week, which is good for US dollar. So maybe we might see things move about a little bit more. Hopefully back down. Just so we can capitalize. Look, I'm not trying to say that we're selling off from here to here, but if we're trying to join the trend, then at least give us something to be able to join the trend on. Like this market stuff, this market price action here is not, that to me isn't feasible to get in on to continue the bullish trend. I'm looking for good market structure down here. Again, it's the benefit of hindsight. Why am I fucking hiccup? Like, people, why do hiccups exist? They're the most annoying and frustrating and pointless thing. Like the whole imbalance in your fucking system inside. Yeah, cool. Great. Kick in when I'm trying to do a video. Yeah. I'm going to cut this one short because I'm fucking hiccuping like a dick. So maybe Wednesday I'll do a pickup. But yeah, if anybody's interested in the PAM stuff, drop me a message. Anybody interested in the automated stuff, drop me a message and can get you set up this week. There's none of that CPA commission stuff, so there's no trigger trading. It's just you putting some money in and investing and leaving it to do its thing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll do probably a mid of the week kind of update video, and we'll see if there's anything that we can jump into or capitalize on this week, hopefully.